Okay, cool. Well, welcome to Little Shorts with Mandy Michael. It's great to have you here. And you wanted to
Yes,
chat
thank you.
today a little bit about earlier music influences on the sounds that we hear today. And you had a
Y-
few cool bands that you wanted to mention. Can
y-
you let us know a little bit about why or what those bands are and what the influences that you see?
Okay, so because I'm definitely a that in between generation. So I was listening to music early, and in the '70s, there were two magazines, of course, Circus and Cream. And Circus was my favorite. I just liked the pictures, and they talked a lot about several bands. One was UFO, the other was Stars and Angel. So those bands there, as well as Budgie, um, were, I read later with Metallica and Foo Fighters and even the Guns N' Roses, how much those bands influenced their sounds.
Right.
And even with Metallica in their on their Garage record, their album, they
Hmm.
covered Budgie's Bread Fan. So these bands were influential, but they did not gain any real popularity. They all phased out. I mean, Stars still plays, Angel still plays, but they reunited because they all but folded their camp
Right.
by the late '70s.
Right. So why do you think that is? Like, in your view, why do some bands like that get traction, but other bands who are arguably just as great don't make it?
I I, th- I think it's timing. It's just timing, and also I think label support. Um, with Angel, they were on Casablanca Records, which was the same one as Kiss,
Right.
and they did a lot of shows, early shows, and were signed by Kiss to Casablanca. But when they did concerts in the late '70s with Kiss as and they were the opening act, they blew Kiss off the road, like off the stage, and
Hmm.
that to me is surreal because Kiss is the band of concerts, and
Right.
so they and Casablanca had economic problems, so there was no support. So the first two critically acclaimed, but then by the third and fourth, still critically, but there was no support. So they
Yeah.
just faded in and they gave up. Now they've reformed and they've recorded two records in the last 5 years,
Right.
and with all but one of their original members. But I think that's what it was: timing, and it was label support. With Stars, it was exactly the same. Capitol Records signed them, and they were critically acclaimed, great albums. And again, with no support by Capitol, they never moved beyond the cult band,
Right.
like Stars.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so they had five records in the '70s,
Hmm.
and each one critically acclaimed, but never got successful. But yet that music was listened to by Slash, by the guys in Poison,
Right.
the hair metal bands of the '90s.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
with
They had a
Angel.
lot of influence on those hair metal bands, right? Like you
Yes,
mentioned, like Poison, Rat, Cinderella, all kind of
yes,
drew influences from them. Am I right?
yes, and then there's Budgie,
Right.
which was a trio, but very heavy, very sarcastic in their song titles, but they really punched through with Hetfield and Lars from Metallica,
Hmm.
as well as bands like Leaf Hound. So yeah, they were again, but never. I mean, other than Texas, they never hit North America. They were big in England, but that's it.
Right. Right. Do you think they were too heavy for the time?
No, because I mean Sabbath, that was their
Right.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
so no, I don't believe that. I think again, it's sometimes timing and FM radio play because they weren't an AM. They didn't have hits, so they weren't put on the radio.
Hmm.
But they were the songs were catchy. They were musical, and they were really excellent musicians. So there was no reason for them not to be successful, except label support and maybe lack of singles for radio.
Yeah.
And and then there's like a band like UFO. Now, there's a band that ruled the '70s, still top 10 greatest live record ever with Strangers in the Night, but yet never made it big.
Right.
Um, Yet UFO, you ask any rock and roll band, they know UFO and they were influenced by UFO.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's all this great classic rock era music
Yeah.
that never went beyond. And I mean, the Scorpions were '70s, but they got put in with hair bands or hair metal, and
Right.
yet that's the last thing they were. It's just for MTV and the hair metal era, yeah, or
Yeah.
even a band like Montrose, the first two with Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
Um, you listen to one song like Bad Motor Scooter, that
Hmm.
first intro
Hmm.
is copied almost note for note with Motley Crue's song. Was it "Kickstart My Heart"?
Right. Very similar. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's those guys that just sat there. And yes, they had a little bit of success, but never the same as Motley Crue. Never the same as any
No.
others that evolved in the decades later.
Yeah,
So
not
yeah,
even as much success as Sammy then went on to have, say, with Van
correct.
Halen or on his own, so it's
So yeah,
interesting how it happened.
exactly.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and it's kind of so with Budgie, and then I mentioned Pavlov's dog.
Mhm.
Um, their lead singers were had the same vocal sensibility as Geddy Lee, but yet never reached the stratosphere of Rush.
Right.
So
It's pretty hard
and
to reach the Rush stratosphere now, and
oh
speaking
no,
of
exactly, once
speaking
in a
of which, though,
generation.
what are your thoughts on Rush going back on tour with a new drummer? And I forget her name, but are you excited about
Annika
that?
Nilles,
Pardon?
uh, Annika Nilles.
Right, right.
Yeah, she's a YouTuber,
Mhm.
and what I've seen of those of her YouTubes, and listen, if Geddy Lee and Alex think that she can fill the spot, you know what? Who am I, or who are the rest of the world to say that she can't?
Right, right.
And I love that they're back together. I'm in line to get their tickets when for the August of next year. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's something that makes my heart. And my son said, "Hey, that's a bucket list for me."
right.
So we're gonna go. Yeah.
Right. So you said that they're replacing Neil. Do you think that's the case? So we were talking about it yesterday about the
Yep.
fact that there's a difference between replacing someone who you've gotten rid of and sort of replacing someone who has passed away. Do you think fans are more receptive to somebody who is taking over because someone has passed away than they are for someone who's replacing someone who was fired from the band? Like, how do you think that will go over with
That's
fans?
a great question. I mean, you look at the with Black Sabbath when they went back on tour without Bill Ward. Um, Hey, you know what? The fans, yes, they cried that it wasn't Bill Ward, but
Yeah,
in the end, their replacement was phenomenal.
right,
Um, and I do think that yes, people are given passes when it has been because of a tragedy.
right.
Taylor Hawkins, for instance,
Yeah,
or and I with Neil Peart, but
yeah,
ah, you know, for Rush and Peart, that's a drummer that's next level,
right.
and I would not be surprised if the tour is sold out when tickets go on sale within minutes of their because it's Geddy Lee and Alex
Yeah,
Lifeson too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think so too. I think,
yeah,
like you
yeah.
said, if Geddy Lee and they're approving this new drummer and saying, "Hey, this is our new drummer," I think their fans will kind of go along with it. I mean, I
Oh,
think you'll always have diehard fans who liked the original lineup the
of
best.
course.
You know, you have your Bon Scott fans, you have,
Yeah.
you know, all of the original fans, but I think most fans are won over by the new lineup.
Oh, yeah. And, there's no discussion of new music. It's
Right.
really a 50th, a 50ish anniversary.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. And I am positive because Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson are pretty savvy. They're
Yeah.
going to be leaking
Mhm.
um, rehearsal takes from their rehearsing for this tour, just to show that she can fill the spot. Well, no, never fill the spot, but do it more than justice.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so do you think that's a smart move to kind of like go on tour, play the classics, see how it goes, get some fan support, and then do you think that might lead to some new music from Rush?
Well, that's a great question too, because you look at, it's Alex and Getty that did a lot of the music, where Parrot did all of their lyrics.
Right.
So really hard to replace that intellectual, lyrical input. So that, I think, is a bigger challenge for Rush,
Yeah.
not musically, but from a lyrical standpoint.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
and
guess we'll
AI
wait
is
and
not going to
see.
do it.
Time will tell, right?
Yes, yes, but for all the diehard fans that think, in 2015 that they would never get back together again, this is a little bit of kick of Yahoo, and let's see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. It'll be exciting for sure. Um,
Yes.
let's see here. Um, so how do you see some of these bands? Let's pick not Montrose because we can kind of see where that goes, but let's talk about
Yeah.
like say Angel
Yeah.
or Stars. Can you talk about how you see that influence from each of those bands in today's music? Like where do we see them showing up
Okay.
kind of in the background?
I think that's a great question, and I think that if you listen to Stars, and they were catchy. They were hard. I wouldn't say hard rock. Maybe hard pop, but they were hard rock at the time.
Yeah.
You can hear it in every band that's coming out now. Um, how they try to make catchy, hard edge songs,
Hmm.
and Stars were masters at it. And what in the '90s and early 2000s, not Britpop, but definitely the hair metal.
Right.
Um, the Michael Smith, the lead singer from Stars, was a good looking guy, and he was charismatic, and that's exactly what the hair metal of LA was. I mean,
Yeah.
that they had good looking lead singers
Yeah.
with catchy songs,
Hmm.
not a lot of substance, I thought, but they were at least catchy and playable. And of
Yeah.
course, the conversions of MTV and video.
Hmm.
But I definitely hear that, where Angel is more of a hybrid of progressive and heavier metal. Again, if you look at Angel in 1975, you could have teleported them to 1995 with any hair metal band.
Right.
Um, they had personalities, but they were ultimately, it's that they were fantastic musicians that were able to transcend. I mean, Richie Dano, which was the lead guitarist of Stars, was also in the Stories. Brother Louie, and Looking Glass.
Right.
So there was a lot of pedigree there,
Hmm.
and this is where I sort of why the music right now is kind of disposable, is there's no pedigree.
Yeah.
It's very contrived, and I mean, with always with exceptions, but
Mhm.
it's great music, but it's ultimately forgettable.
Right. Do you think that's a product of today's age? Are they producing music that today's consumers want to hear?
Yes, in a word, yes, I do believe it is. Again, I go back to contrived. Um, yeah, they have to play to the A&R guys at the labels. The labels won't touch them unless they have something catchy, something
Yeah.
streamable now.
Mhm.
And there's no so they hit on the emotion of, what was played in the 70s and 80s on radio. Just it's not the same. You have to stream it. It's not
Right.
on radio anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to be different, and I think that being different is a manipulation. I don't say it's like the Archies and Monkeys, but poof, there's some really really manipulated music out there, and I don't
Yeah.
mean just auto tune.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you think the change in kind of platforms has affected uh, what you might consider to be more real music? Like it back in the day, we had radio,
Yes.
and you had to go and purchase music.
Yeah.
But then you could also sort of more into the 80s, there were music videos that,
Yeah.
MTV, Much Music here in Canada were really very popular. And
Yeah.
it's not the same anymore. I mean, we have social media, but do you think that's akin to MTV, social media, or
Well, I do believe that that's a great venue. I mean, how one commonality that we had and I liked on your Instagram was Jailer.
Mm,
I mean, we would not have heard about Jailer without social media.
right.
They're English,
Yeah,
they right out, or somebody like Yola.
right.
Great musician, great music, but again, social media.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I think it is a replacement, and I hope that it makes it more genuine. That they're laying their bones out there,
yeah,
and their soul. So it's I think that it can't be faked as much anymore.
right.
So I'm hoping that, but it's still streaming. I audio file too. I played my most of my music is vinyl, but
Mhm.
I have CDs as well, and I stream.
Yeah,
And right now, streaming doesn't do it for me. It's just not the same level of musicality
right.
to even CDs. And I hated CDs compared to vinyl. But
Mhm.
it's where we're going. But yet, younger and younger are going back to that hard copy, the vinyl and CDs. I mean,
Right.
CDs are coming back again, for goodness sakes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice to
So,
get back to that experience of, and I've talked about this before, about having a musical experience that's more than just listening, going
yeah,
out, getting the album, looking at it, opening it up, looking at the cover and all of that stuff. That's something that I think a lot of today's, I'll call them kids, have missed out on compared
yeah,
to, our
agreed.
generation of experiencing music as something more than just sound.
Agreed. I was in, it was, what are we, July or August anyway. I was in Grooves in London, and looking through their used record, used vinyl collection.
Mm,
And I saw this group, 4 or 5 guys, heavily tattooed, but they were pulling records left, right, and center and ready to buy. And because I have no filter, I asked who they were, and they said, we're from Volbeat, and they were there to play London the next night. But
oh,
yet
cool.
they were in there bin diving. It was fantastic, and
Nice.
looking at some of their choices, it's like these are it's amazing that um, I guess community that vinyl can do.
Yeah.
We go back to what Empire Records or any of those movies from that era too. It truly is, or even Almost Famous. Your friends are always in the record store.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's still there. That hard copy.
Yeah. True. True.
Yeah.
So, Michael, thank you so much for
No,
joining me
thank
today
you.
and sharing your thoughts about music with me. It was fun to chat with you, and
Really fun.
I appreciate your
Love your
time.
site.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.